Hello and welcome back to RSQ. We finished reading The Wall of Storms
Welcome.
by Ken Liu. This is the second book in the Dandelion Dynasty, whereas the first book introduces us to Dara and follows the rivalry of Kuni and Mata as they seek to clean up after the Emperor Mapidere and his cruel rule.
Was it cruel? Was it cruel?
After they seek to clean up after his rule, where the yoke of the people was tough.
It wasn't ideal. He was doing he had a good idea and he just executed it very poorly.
But anyway, that was book one. Book two follows the royal family of Emperor Ragan, also known as Kunigaru, as the region of Dara changes and faces new spoilers in 3, 2, 1 new adversaries from over the sea from beyond a wall of storms. So jumping right in with the cover judgment.
So this is the 10th anniversary cover. So
These
the
books
cool
have been
thing
out
about
that long.
Since the first book came out, yeah, I think 2015. Because these covers just came out like a couple months ago or less. But they all line up on the spines. To those, that's the original cover that Dakota has. There's a cool UK cover that we really enjoyed, but for us to get it keeps saying it comes in pocket sized. This is 860 pages. Pocket size doesn't work.
Pretty
for
sure
me.
pocket size is the same as the mass paperback Mistborn, which I mean,
yeah, that just ain't gonna work. You're gonna be holding a dictionary. But I think the cover's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that cover a lot.
Major spoilers on the cover, like major spoilers. But they all line up. They have little airships, and they all line up to end up equaling the dragons, the Garfin, which is hilarious. Not hilarious. I think the design is cool. They're dragons with deer heads that shoot fire.
I love
Once
that
my
they're
brain wraps that
essentially
around-
flying cows. I love that he writes this is we're just diving in the middle here, but he essentially writes these dragons as if they're descended from cows. So they have like rumen and the typical cow stomach that ferments grain and grass in the stomach for them to spit it back up and chew the cut. He literally writes these dragons as if they're cows, and I love that.
I was getting blinded by the sun. Yes,
but anyway,
and that comes into play.
I like the 10th anniversary covers a lot more than I think the original ones. The original ones are not bad. They're just pretty plain. Like we said in the first one, I don't think I would
do it for me.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be drawn to this just sitting on the shelf. I think
I would agree.
I think I'd feel like it's a little plain.
So now that we've sufficiently judged the book by its cover, well-developed characters. I'll kind of start it. I feel like we had the characters, we had the cast from the last book, the first book. I feel like everybody that was from the first book had, even if I didn't like it, they had character development and it fit their character, and their actions I felt like weren't different, didn't deviate from book one to make it seem like, oh, this doesn't even feel like the same character. There were some things that they did that pissed me off, but it was in line with what the character was doing. So I'm like, all right, fine. Love our new characters. The leader of the Liuku, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong.
Liuku. Peiku
Tenryo. He's a cool dude.
He's BA.
He's a cool dude.
His whole way of thinking and way of reasoning.
Yeah, because I forget which character even told him. They're like, you would be a good logician. Not logician. Litigator.
Oh, litigator.
Litigator.
That's right. Wasn't Ruthie, was it? The leader right before they killed him?
No, I think it was
was it the
buddy that died.
Was it the emperor that he killed?
Luan or whatever his name is. Luan Zyra.
Oh yeah, Luan Zija. I don't know.
Something like that.
His first name is definitely Luan.
But yeah, I enjoyed all the characters. Everybody felt like they had their place. There were some characters that had very predictable directions, but not in a bad way, because that's just how I feel like it would be and what happens in certain situations.
I liked Zomi and Dara a lot. They were really fun characters. I liked
Zomi.
I'm not normally, I'm going to out myself here. I'm not normally my favorite characters are not normally the female characters. They're usually the male characters. Sorry.
Whoa.
Tell me I'm shallow and immature and I'll say you're probably right. But the female characters in this, like Zomi and Dara, were great. And I loved their mental, intellectual contrast to the world around them. How they approached the world around them and how they were able to make changes because of their different mindset. They were really well written.
Oh, And the Marshal too is a really cool character.
Jin?
Jin,
Yeah.
yeah, she's dope.
Yeah, she's
I
awesome. She
f-
was dope in the first one too.
I feel like when we first started reading, a lot of the things we're reading always has like a powerful male main character, and this is one of those where I feel like we have a lot of good female main characters. But I will say we've been reading some good stuff this year where we've had some solid female main characters, like Shadow of the Gods.
Well, yeah,
That whole
Orca.
series, Orca. Oh my god, fantastic!
Orca
She's
was so good.
Yeah, one of the coolest. And
Teller
then
of Small
Vin,
Fortunes.
Teller of Small Fortunes, main character there. Vin
Yeah,
from
Mistborn.
Mistborn, Shallan, LOL.
Teehee.
Hee hee. But yeah, no, I would agree. I
Yeah.
think all of these characters are really well written.
Yeah, it was really fun to see. I really liked the way we were introduced to Kuni's kids and the way it painted the picture of their personalities and how they relate to their father or don't.
Mhm.
That was a really well done. A lot of things happened in this book that happened really well. This book was really well written.
And this we're talking about a lot of stuff that touch on different points, but I feel like this series does really well what I feel like Red Rising does really well, and a lot of other books ignore, and that's actions have consequences. A lot of the
Yeah.
times, the hero does some crazy thing and blows up this the supply depot hold and blah blah blah, and it's like, now they don't have supplies, and then it's just like, yay, we win, blah blah. Well, in this one, it's like, all right, they burn all the grain and everything, and then they're like, well, shit. So we conquered them, but we burned all the grain, so now our people are starving. Like
Right.
every single thing has, and even from book one when they have the tunnels underneath came into play in this one were used against them. It's just like things, even positive things have consequences that you may not expect type thing. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done.
I agree. Before we move off of characters, I do need to go on record and say that Gia can burn in hell.
Gia is the Cersei Lannister of this series. And she comes off as this not as like mean and evil, and she's doing things for the realm and not just her family. So not the exact same, but those are the vibes I give. Like
It
she's just
is
killing people just
it
because
is
she thinks it's
malice.
easier.
It is well-intentioned malice, and I don't think that the ends justify her means because her ends have failed multiple times. But they did set her character up to be this way very early on in the first one. They gave lots of
With
hints to
Soto.
it. It was not out of character. This was not like it was all realistic and it was all handled well, but I hate her and her
You
decisions.
just hate seeing it happen.
Yeah, her
You're like,
decisions.
Gia,
It's the trope that we talked about in the first one, the miscommunication trope, magnified to a billion because Gia's trying to pull all the strings behind the scenes, except instead of pulling the strings, she's cutting them and setting them on fire.
and a lot of people died from it, i.e., her husband is dead. Although he kind of died kind of cool.
Yeah, his Kuni's death was fantastic. There's a lot of good moments to talk about in this one.
Haley, just I'll keep it on the camera. She wants me because she's making dinner. She said there's questionable cheese. She's not sure if it tastes good, and she slid some under the door for me to try.
Try this cheese.
Oh, it's shredded cheese. It's not even like.
I'm gonna make a clip out of this.
All right.
Are you the
all right.
to the RSQ
Oh, this doesn't
viewers?
smell right.
Are you the partner that asks your partner if the dairy products are good, or are you the partner that tells your partner if the dairy products are good? Because I ask every time. I'm like, is this milk still good? Is this cheese still good? What is this? Is this good or bad? 75% of the time, my wife just knows, and the other 25% of the time, she's like, why don't you just sniff it or taste it? And I'm like, you're supposed to just know.
Smells off. It tastes okay. I'm questioning it.
I mean, if it tastes okay. I feel like that's my problem. Is dairy just smells off in general. I always go to sniff it and it always smells weird.
I think because especially if you preface it like, oh, hey, does this smell weird? I'm like, I think it does. I don't know. But anyway, back to the book. Sorry about that
All
cheese.
good.
Uh,
Originality and creativity, because unless you have more to say about the characters, we were just talking about random moments that were really good. Kuni's death was great. I don't know.
well, it's like one of those things too. He's willing to die to make sure that Dara and especially his family Dandelion Dynasty goes on. Gia wants Dara to be this perfect place too, but she don't give a fuck about her family and if everybody dies doing it. But a big thing, we talked about this in the first review too. All these characters are very concerned about, most of them, very concerned about their honor and how they'll look in the future and everything like that. And so a lot that affects a lot of their decisions, which like they're just like thinking through what they're gonna do. And I don't know. I think that's interesting because to me, I'm like, just do what you need to do. And they're like, oh, but what will the 3 generations down the line think of me? I'm like, bro. And I know it's the culture and everything like that. So like it makes sense in the story, but to me, I'm like,
Yeah, I agree. Very similar feelings with all the things, all the decisions that are made. Some of them pain me.
agreed. But originality and creativity, yeah,
Yeah, gave it a
I don't know
point.
what to say about it.
I don't know what else to say either. It was continued to be unique, continued to throw things at me that I didn't expect, like the Garnoffins. Us having you made a joke in the first video, and I don't probably won't feel like editing it in, so I'm not going to promise that I'll do that.
That's fair.
But anyways, you made a joke in the first one about, this doesn't have dragons. It's not going to be that kind of high fantasy. If you're looking for dragons flying around and like burning, raising towns, you're not going to get that.
I was proven wrong.
That's crazy. This one has dragons, but the dragons, I loved the way the gods interacted in this one. It felt a lot more
Passive to me.
It felt a lot smoother than the first one. It was more like the gods observing and commenting and stressing stressing in that I think what this book does is it makes the gods seem like the gods of like Greek mythology, where they are immortal and powerful, but not all knowing and not all powerful, and that they're really limited to like the influence they can make, and having like being remembered and being worshipped is like a big thing. And so like they're fallible, they're fallible, and they don't know how things are going to go either. And so when like the people are invaded, they're like, "Uh-oh, do we need to do something? What's going to happen to our people?" And so it was,
Well, also they don't know if it's new gods or if it's different versions of themselves.
yeah,
Like it's strange.
which is also vibes to the Percy Jackson series when it's like the
Roman versus Greek.
yeah, and their aspects are splitting. So how it was handled was really good. In the first one, the gods felt really petty and overly involved in situations where it was like this whole war started because like one god pushed this one guy into doing this one thing, but in this one it was like really minor influences, like the discovery of electricity, and they called it the
That was cool.
silkmatic force. That was cool.
And it's basically just static shock.
Yeah, it was
I
really
thought that was
funny.
funny.
I laughed. But yeah, easy point for originality and creativity.
But since we were talking about the Garifins, I did highlight a quote that when the scholars were talking, they said, makes me wonder what kind of other amazing creatures one might find in the lands of Ukyu and Gandhi. And I'm like, your future stuff there? We're going to find some other cool
When am I getting sandworms?
animals? You're not.
I'm not getting it.
Engaging storyline.
Yeah, you gave it a point here too. Not a lot to say. It was
This one, so I do still, with his writing style, feel it's very like it's told like it feels historical. Like we're kind of learning things as they already happened instead of learning things as they happen.
I have a whole take on that for the writing style category, but I agree.
Which I'm fine with. I like the way it's told because we get to see things different than we normally would.
I feel like in most like this one, I feel like and this is going to briefly allude to the take I'm going to make when we get to writing style. I feel like we do know more of where this book is going and understand more how to follow it. In the first one, I was like, who are all these people? It's like drinking from a fire hose. I'm learning so much at once. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting one character and a backstory, another character and a backstory. What's the purpose of this? This one did early on very clearly show you we're following Dara as it's invaded. And it was like you see all the different players and all the different pieces of that. So
it felt more linear in terms of like we know where we're headed type thing, as opposed to the first one we didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was what.
No. Yeah, it almost felt like book one could have been considered a prequel. It wasn't, but like you could argue that was a prequel and the story actually starts now.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with what I'm saying, but I could see how someone could say that.
Yeah, you're further alluding to the rant, not a rant that I'm saving for the writing style section.
Teehee. Well, all right then. Anyway, engaging storyline, that's a 1.
Boom, boom, boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Story and wrap up.
Yeah.
I felt
good about it.
I liked this one. I liked the ending of this one more than the ending of the first one. The ending of the first one was good, but it was a lot of confusion. I was like, so what's the point? Where are we going now? I guess the ending of this one was more dynamic. It was more like a clear solution, like problems are solved and things are wrapped up, while also presenting you with, in the near future, there will be more problems that have to get solved.
Yeah, but I felt like in this one too, we got a big like you said, there was a big battle, there was an end to the battle, there was, you know, aftermath that we had to deal with type thing. It felt like there was a stereotypical end to the story. As the first one
Yeah.
was a stereotypical end, I felt like we got more of an ending in the last one than I think that you felt. Like I was fine with it. It was a little anticlimactic, but it was a clear ending to the storyline. It just wasn't like there wasn't a lot of fanfare with it,
Yeah.
which is
Agree.
is what it is. But this one got a 1 for me. Um, World building and setting.
I think in this one, I'm gonna asterisk this one as my top category for book two. I think book two did the most clear world building and setting, and I think it probably is because of what book it ran because book one walked. Like we get
Yeah, I get
so
that.
much in depth, intimate understanding of the continent and the people and the other like we get to look at a lot of little things that wouldn't have made sense if it was like your first experience to this world is a street magician who knows how to use static electricity.
All right.
So I'm just little mark. I think this one. I think that was the strongest of this book for me.
This is an easy one for me too. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a long book, but it's a long book that everything has a purpose that's being said. The pacing might feel a little bit off, and we'll get into that, but everything is important. It's not just like, and then they were walking for 98 years.
Yeah,
It felt good.
it did.
I was always learning. All right.
Pacing and
Pacing and
structure.
structure. I think we both agreed here that pacing was a little off,
Y-
little sluggish
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah. I
It's
think
860 pages.
I think for me, and this is probably a nitpicky thing, I probably want to both have my cake and eat it too. I think that our our backstory flashbacks were a little too lengthy. We had like the early one. What was the first one that we got? Zomi's felt really long. When we were reading Zomi's backstory, I was
It's like a
like,
quarter of the book.
yeah, I was like, this is a like flashback backstory, and this is taking up like 25% of the book. Like I was like,
I felt
this
like
is
it was super important though.
it was great. It was good. It just felt like it dragged a little bit, and I was like, it just it pulled me out of that like linear immersion. Whereas like in the rest of the book, I can see it as like a clear start and end, and looking at it after finishing it, and I can see that like that was really important. It just felt a little. Those moments made it feel a little long to me. The how lengthy the different flashbacks were made it feel a little long to me until the
Yeah,
end.
because I feel like in book one, we got a lot of varying character flashbacks, where here we got flashbacks still, probably the same amount, but we had them for a lot less characters.
Right. Yeah,
Or
that's
they
a good
were,
point.
the flashbacks were instead of just single characters besides Zomi, it was like all the kids were in one flashback type thing. So it was like, kind of felt like more of a chunk. But if I thought the flashbacks, like, especially for Zomi, even though they were long, were so important because it establishes like the Zomi Luan father-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
It establishes the beads early, the
Yeah.
fire beads that end up being crazy important. Wasn't thinking that was gonna be
Same.
but it was. And then it puts Zomi and Luan exactly where they need to be for the rest of the story. So I don't know. It was long. I enjoyed it, but there were times where even though I was enjoying it, I'm like, all right, I kind of want to move on a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Full agreement there. So half point pacing and structure.
Full agreement.
And
Oh,
then
I have something to say about that. I highlighted it. Another quote.
oh
He said, he who ended up saying this one? This was who was she talking to? This is Gia talking with Kuni, and the quote is, Gia, you can't possibly blame me for this. Timu's letters have gotten more and more tedious over time. He always tended platonism, but I'm afraid his prose has grown out of control as the weeds at the edge of my garden. And I thought that was funny because platonism means the use of more words than are necessary to convey meaning, either as a fault of style or for emphasis. And I was like, damn, his books are long as shit. And he's talking about this character being lengthy and long-winded. And this book was 800, and original printing was 880 pages.
and that
It's
also
nuts.
reminds me of Catabasis.
I keep seeing videos of people being like, this book is fantastic and blah, blah. I can see people enjoying it a bit, I guess, but like there's so many glaring issues to me. I just can't.
I don't
I don't wanna talk about it.
understand. I don't understand subjective 5 out of 5s. Like the people. I said that wrong. I don't understand how people give objective 5 out of 5s and then proceed to say that it's because it's totally their opinion and they like understand that the book wasn't perfect. They just loved it. And it's like, then it's not a 5 out of 5.
And you can give extra points because you enjoyed it and you enjoyed it more, and I'm fine with that, but you can't give it a perfect score. Like,
That's literally all my beef
it's like,
is.
I love Harry Potter. It's great. I love it. There are some glaring issues though with it. Like, you can't give it a 10 out of 10 because there's some like pretty big like world building gaps that you just can't ignore. But it's still like, I really enjoy it, so I rate it probably higher than some other people would. So I mean, this is another example. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was my quote.
Anyway, back to the book that we're on. I didn't do
Wow.
any highlights in this one, but I pulled up really quick in Kindle um every mention of the Grace of Kings because I felt like it was
There was a lot.
I felt like
There
it
was a
was all
lot.
like whenever it was mentioned was like really good moments in the story. Like here's one. Um Rosanna shook her head, trembling even more. The grace of kings does not glitter like precious gold or shine like gentle jade, said Gia. It's forged from iron and blood, gradually. I hate Gia. She can burn, but that's still a really good that's still a
I
really good
highlighted
line.
I try not to highlight too much because I always forget to look at them, like when we do these videos, but I'm trying to be better. I highlighted 9 different ones. Some of them were just quotes I thought were like applicable to real life. Like, not this is Luan talking when he's training Zomi. He goes, "Not every mind learns the same way. A knife needs to be sharpened against stone, but a pearl needs to be polished with soft cloth." When he's like figuring out his teaching style. And then another cool thing, Thera bowed deeply in Jiri. "My father is a lord of capacious mind," which is funny because that's his daughter talking to him and saying that. But that was one of the first things that Gia said to Kuni when
Yeah.
they were dating. And I was like, and they said that a couple of times.
That's another
I just
statement
thought it was
in this
interesting.
that was good whenever it was used. Like Luan
Yeah.
says that about Kuni in when they're like catching up and he's like realizing that Kuni's master plan is to make Thera his crown princess and his heiress.
I knew he was going to. That was something like I predicted pretty on early. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's neither of these are clearly good, and Thera seems like she kind of fits the bill for everything.
Yeah, it was her story was foreshadowed that way really early on. Her whole I want to do more and be more, and then the boys are both like glaringly one-sided.
Yeah. I want to burn things to the ground, or I want to talk people to death.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so on to emotional impact.
Yeah. Emotional impact.
It was good. Yeah, there were a lot of great moments.
I don't remember. I think in the first one, I gave this a half a point. And I think just because I could tell there was very big character emotion and the characters were feeling these
Yeah,
things and I could recognize that, it just didn't translate
you
to
put
me as much where
big
I wasn't
character
like,
emotion, little me emotion.
exactly. Um, Because, like, sometimes you just read things like, oh, dang, that character died. But, like, other times we're like, no, that was the character I want. I feel like this one, I felt, since this is
Yeah,
kind of the second book with the characters, I felt a lot of things. Like, when Luan died, I was
I was sad.
pretty bummed. I was
Yeah,
crushed. Um, so I felt like this one, the emotional impact was higher. Also, back to character development, I guess. He killed off basically everybody from book 1.
yeah. All of the pillars of Emperor Ragen's empire were pretty much killed. It's like, and I think that was intentional. It's going to have to be like a
Yeah.
new, and they even like hinted to that at the very end with the gods being like, the people are going to have to figure out how to do this. They're going to have to figure out how to pave a way forward, and that was that was one of the big themes that
Yeah.
the next generation has to stand on its own. And yeah, I mean, no more Gin, no more Luan, no more Rosanna,
I am
no
excited
more
to see
Kuni.
Jin's. I can't remember her name. Her
Her
kids.
daughter. Yeah, it's like
Her
Ayota,
daughter.
I think.
She's gonna fuck some shit up.
I
She's
hope
gonna
she
be
kills
a little
Gia.
war. I hope
I hope
Thera
that's
kills
the
Gia.
damn. I'd be for that too.
Like some Arya Stark shit coming back from a
Gia's gonna go
adventure.
out in a blaze, whether or not it's like her own blaze or someone else blazes to kill her. It's gonna. She's
Well, ironic you say that when she was just gonna set herself on fire if they lost. Like, we're losing. Let me just burn myself to death.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, a little dramatic.
Yeah, a
All
little,
right.
little dramatic. Yeah. I mean, I was angry at Gia after like 35% of the way, 35% to like 100% of the book. I was angry at Gia, so that's some good emotional impact right there. I was like, I literally hate you. You're ruining everything.
Gia wouldn't want to be ya. All right, meaningful or no, writing silent prose. I'll tee you up here for your little
Here
your
it
little
is.
soapbox, whatever
I've
you're about
hyped
to
it up
do.
too much, and it's gonna be lame and take like 20 seconds. So we're gonna be like, anyways, that was it. I
Dakota's
think
sex life described in 5 seconds.
I know it's mine and not yours.
It is that as well.
I'm rubber, you're
Anyway,
glue. Anything you say bounces off of me.
shut up. Shut your face.
Okay, I think book one dies on the altar of teaching you how to understand this author's writing style. And I ultimately feel like the style, stylistically, this book is very similar to the first one, with the only key difference being a slightly more focused storyline. Like we said, I think the storyline is more linear in this one, but I think ultimately it's really similar. But he has to put so much work into, I guess, drawing you into understanding how complex his world is and how he's going to present it to you in the first book when it doesn't matter to you. And then in the second book, when it matters to you, it's a lot easier. So
Yeah,
it's like
you
I
have
already
that
said it.
foundation that he built.
Yeah.
Like he spent 650 pages, the whole first book, building a foundation for this house that he's creating, and then we get to reap the rewards in the second book, I think.
Yeah. I think that's why you see like the ratings improve so much for books 2, 3, 4. And it's hard. Like it could definitely be a prequel. I don't really know. I don't know how he accomplishes what he wants to accomplish without the way it is. Like the first book being a bit
Because
drier, a bit
you can't
slower.
skip book one.
Yeah, you need all this context because ultimately, like I've alluded to, I think what he is really doing is writing about Dara, and you're not really getting a single like main character or main person you're following. He's just writing about Dara, and you're seeing the key players in Dara and how their actions are shaping the world around them.
Which I actually really enjoy because I feel like that's a rather unique way of telling a story, especially in fantasy, because normally you're following characters and their plots and stuff,
Right.
and you're getting that here, but it's not the main focus. So I think that's probably why it also reads as kind of like a history of what's going on because
Yeah.
it's told from the land's
Yeah,
point
that's
of
the
view.
purpose. It's the history. It's like an ongoing you're
I
seeing
like
in
it.
real time the history of the world.
IRL.
I like it as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Meaningful themes in depth, littered with more themes in depth. And one of the big themes, I won't go into a bunch because there's just so many. Well, actually, I say two things. First thing is he uses a lot of the same phrases from book one and this book in the beginning and the end with different characters and different things. Like, and I think just the way that that's done, like the capricious mind thing that we were talking about, just is I
Yeah.
think really well done. But I think the big thing is one of the big themes is when the new baddie Tenro comes in and he's talking with Luan and Luan's like, why are you like invading? And he's talking to Kuni. And he's like, why are you like, we don't have to do this type thing. He goes, well, you expect me then to go back to where I was, where all of our people are suffering on our land and it's uninhabitable, and like the elders are staying behind to die so that the rest of us can eat and everything. And you think that that is a fair way of life instead of bringing us in and accepting our culture, which also he's going around killing all the people to make room for his. So, I mean, there's, we're not
Yeah.
doing things exactly right,
It's
but
the
like
whole ends
his
justify
reasoning.
the means conversation.
And I think that's how you write a really good villain, because you can't have a villain that doesn't have a motive that makes sense to the reader, or that like just nobody kills just to like kill. Like that's not like a
Yeah.
thing. Like you have to have a motive.
Yeah. The best villains have to be a villain you can empathize with, because if they're just
Yeah.
I'm evil and I hate people, and then where it's like that's just we're annoyed. They're annoying.
Yeah.
Get them out of here. Get them out of here.
Get him out of here. So I think that that theme of balancing, like, all right, we're going to war to stop these people from dying in their own place. I don't know. It's like a gray area type thing, and I think that's the
Yeah,
whole point.
they're
Is
fighting for the promised land. They're fighting for their better life. I also enjoyed all the parallels between Kuni and Mapitere.
yeah, and he even acknowledges it, which is
Yep.
like he goes, I realize that like he didn't do it right, but I understand why he did what he did.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's good. Another thematically complex book.
Yeah, agreed. All right, final category: rereadability and lasting impact. Tell me what you're thinking.
I gave it a point here, keeping in line with our would I want to stay in this world? Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed this book. The book itself might, as a second book in the series, it'll be a TBD on if it stands out by itself. But I mean, it kept me interested in the world. We get to see the story expanded in a way that I did not expect it to expand. And the second book brought it to life even more. So positive impact for me. I want to continue reading in the world. The first book introduced us to the world. The second book is like, it's like adding detail to the painting. So I get your
Yeah.
point. Did you disagree?
I did, but I've been going back and forth trying to figure this out because I do want more of the world. I do think though, from just like a standard reread aspect, like these are big books and they are kind of dry, even though I enjoyed the story. I wouldn't reread these. Um, like some other big series, I would reread. Even just like if it's been a couple of years, like, oh, that was, entertaining. I don't have anything to read. I would go down that, even though I'm not a rereader. These ones I don't feel like have that capability to
Yeah,
reread.
that's a really good point.
Just from an objective standpoint.
I don't know where to take points for that, but I agree with you in that, like we've said multiple times in all of our videos, like Stormlight, Red Rising, those are things that I'll reread. Probably like Red Rising, I'll read again before Red God comes out. Stormlight, by the time number 8, 9, or 10 comes out, I'm sure I'm gonna do another reread because it's like I feel like I need
And
to understand the world again. But this one is I think it's the dryness. It's still a bit of like the way that the the ongoing history novel is written feels less engaging, and it's like
yeah.
I don't know that when we're done with this, I'm going to have any desire to want to reread it in the future.
And I don't necessarily think the book should lose a point because of that. I just think it's important to note.
Yeah,
Which is why we switched it to do we want more of the story type thing. And that's why I decided to ultimately give it the extra point. And normally lasting impact I have a hard time with. Because a lot of the books, even though they are unique, it's kind of like that was a cool story, but like it's done type thing.
yeah,
I think this is the first story that has been so unique in the way that it's written and told, with the way, like from this historical point of view, that we're learning like basically from the land is the main character.
yeah.
Um, I'm like very much enjoying it, so I think I'll remember this series for a bit for show.
Faux show. Same. All that to say, gave this an RSQ 9.5.
It's a big old score.
Yeah, we gave the first one an 8.25, and this one gets a 9.5. So it cinched a whole other point and a quarter from us, and is just a smidge off of a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think the only reason, like we said, we didn't give it was the pacing. But I think your pacing, I feel like it can be different for everybody. But for them, like when you have such a long book, I think you're just going to tend to have times where it is a bit slower.
Yeah,
So I just it's kind of hard, and
it's a
some
little
books do it
subjective.
redeemingly so. But yeah, I just think this one was
It's tough too
it
because
is
the
what it
kind
is.
of person that has the stomach for a book this length and this, I don't want to say dry, but a book that's like this matter of fact plain, they might not have an issue. Pacing might be fine for them because they're looking for this kind of book, right? I
I feel
think,
like this is a huge conditional review series, though.
yeah,
Like, because we really like it, and people who really like the like world building to a point where you're reading 900 pages about it, you're gonna really enjoy it. But if you're someone who wants the story and you want it you want it concise, you want to not have to delve into certain details, you're not gonna enjoy the story.
yeah, it's gonna feel too long to you.
Yeah, but
Not for
overall,
the faint of heart.
not for the faint of heart.
But I will say it's a really impactful book. I think the way that the author writes is very,
I feel like it makes you think.
yeah,
It
it's
makes you
definitely
think
it
about
definitely
like
challenges you. It makes you think about the means to like what your actions and their consequences means to an end, the way your actions will affect future generations. Lots
yeah.
of interesting points.
All right, RSQ 9.5. That was Wall Storms, people.
Yeah.
By Ken Liu.
What are we doing next? Hit the readers
Up
with
next,
our update.
readers, we're going to take a very small intermission between books 2 and 3. We each have a different arc to read. So we'll be reading those, and then we will be reading Echoes of Destruction by MK Gorbit, I think.
WK.
WK Gorbit. We'll be reading that, which is actually on our wheel. But we decided that we needed something to read in between, and we wanted to read something that was the same. And we both have a copy of this. So this is an indie book, MK Gorbit, Echoes of Destruction. I think it's actually a book 1, but this book just came out in July. So I don't think we'll get a book 2 for a while if it is, in fact, not a standalone.
Very unique
So we're
art.
excited to jump into this one. We'll probably start this one shortly, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. We're reading that. My arc is Shadows Upon Time, book number 7 of Sun Eater. So
Which is
stick around.
crazy that you got into that one. I'm very hyped for you.
It happened really fast. I'm very excited as well. So it's a short 1,000-page arc. Take me a couple days.
It's nothing. And then mine is Let Sleeping Gods Lie by Ben Shankman, who wrote
The devil you know.
the Devil You Know series, which is another indie author, and I really enjoyed that series. So I am excited to keep reading this. I'm already about 50% in, so it should be done very shortly.
Oh dang.
It's a short book. I think it's like 330 pages. So
Dang.
yeah, but so that's what we're doing. Thanks for watching and letting us talk about books to you, for you, at you. And we hope you enjoyed. We will see you guys in the next video. RSQ out.